If I had to pick a takeaway, it's you do need to manage your career. It's not a wake up every morning and what am I going to do with my career and this and that, but it's you must, for your own, you and your family sanity, if you will, you do need to look at how is my career working, where is it going, what am I going to be doing 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So you do have to manage it, or it's going to be managed for you. I think two things. We've talked about the new technologies that are coming through, like CAR-T, personalized medicine, and this and that and the other, and I think a lot of people have addressed that. That's new. But I think even in, let's call it traditional, mammalian cell culture, et cetera, the sheer scale of the business would have been unthinkable 10 or 15 years ago. AstraZeneca that I work with, Pam mentioned this morning, they've launched something like 12 or 14 products in bio. 6 of them were in flight when I was there. 2 more were launched just shortly after I left. But some of those products, each individual product, we're talking metric tons of MAB. And if you go back just 15 years prior, maybe there's a dozen bio products out of all the companies on the market. Were you making a half a ton of material, et cetera? The sheer scale of the industry was almost unimaginable, certainly when I joined the business in the early days of Genentech. The impact that it's had on human health is almost immeasurable. There are a lot of small molecule new drugs being discovered, of course, that also have major impact. But without bio, a lot of the cancer therapies we have, issues like RTPA, issues for factor VIII, R factor VIII, they simply weren't possible before. You can pick just seminal moments in your own career. We happened to launch Merck's Keytruda, one of the IO products, out of our AZ network in Frederick, and one of the first people treated was ex-President Jimmy Carter. And Jimmy Carter was within 30 to 60 days of dying. The indication for what he had was stage 4. Death was certain. There was no chance of living. This product has a clearance rate of over 40%. Jimmy, I think, was treated on a Thursday, and by Monday he had no chemical signs that he'd ever had cancer. So if you work on things like that, it still to this day makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck. And now we have a dozen of those products just within our own, I say our own, I worked there for a while until I retired, company. It was almost unimaginable at the beginning of the industry. Well, certainly as we've talked today, personalized medicine CAR-T is going to be a very different manufacturing platform than I'll call it traditional bio, MABs, proteins, et cetera. One's very large scale but not personalized. The traditional business, very large scale, not personalized. The other is each individual medicine is a patient, so not very personalized. It's exactly personalized, but the scales are much smaller. If you think about it, that business, and I don't think anyone else has used the analogy, but when I've talked about it, that business is a combination of bio and Amazon. Bio makes products that don't have to be tracked by patient. That business has to track the product from the extraction of serum or blood, individual patient, can't miss it, into it's manufactured for that patient, just that product. And importantly, it has to be tracked back to that patient. The blood frac people do the first track up into pooling because they need to know where did the blood come from in case it's contaminated, but they don't have to track back to the patient. This industry does. That's not pharma, that's Amazon and their delivery model. So those companies, if they were hiring people like me to run manufacturing, I'd hire one of me and I'd hire one of me from Amgen or Amazon. Very different business. I think it's the precision and the care and the constant attention to detail that's required. The business is not forgiving of mistakes. These plants have to be run perfectly or you lose lots, and lots are patience. They're huge dollars, but I always think of them as those lost lots have an impact on patience. I'll name two. That's one. The second one to me is the long-range planning involved. To build one of these large networks is a 6 to 7 year process. So you're looking at products that might launch, maybe will launch, still in clinical trial, we may have 10 products, but you're having to convince a CFO that I need to build a network 7 years down the road and I need the money now, not then. So this balance of cannot fail, and I have to look seven years down the road to be able to deliver. Those to me are unique to this business. That's a really good question. And part of the reason that I've always attended American Biomanufacturing, in fact, I was the keynote speaker at the very first one, is precisely the network. And it's the network of both new players to the business as well as very senior players, people who've been here forever. Pat Yang was here today, Pam Chen was a keynote speaker, Andy Worth is here, Daphne was here from our company, but Darren's here. The name on the business card might change, but the network is invaluable. I think the other thing is that all of us feel very comfortable in speaking openly about difficult or changing topics here. So you're going to pick up in your networking here things that may be a problem. It's not going to surface for another year or two, but those of us who are living with it, we're talking to our peers about it. And I want to know what the problems are 2 years from now. I don't want to know, it's easy for me to know what the problems are today because I'm told what the problems are today in my job. The bigger issue that you get from this network is what's that rumble of, boy, is this going to be difficult 2 or 3 years from now? And you only pick it up from this kind of networking.